Please welcome LYNDS.
So I can explain this as I'm light. So what I'm doing right now is I'm warming up with stiff legs. So as you can tell, when I do it, I'm more so pushing my glute, my hip back, so it feels more of a stretch. I'm going for more of that stretch feel than exertion feel, which is, it's a fine line, but it's, once you get used to that feeling, it's very beneficial. Keeping your upper torso straight. So when I'm coming down, my chest and everything is still upright. So I'm driving my chest up, I'm driving my hip forward, but the opposite on the way back. So bum goes back, legs are straight, feeling that stretch. It's like I've said in like even bicep movements. You gotta preset your body or prime your body before you start the rep. So, especially if something you're doing like this, where the weight is gonna get a little strenuous, you gotta have everything locked tight. So as I said, the upper core is locked straight. You're keeping that chest up, shoulders back type thing. When you glide your hips back, more so, this is where experience comes into play. So you're more so wanting to feel that stretch up the hamstring instead of feeling strain on the lower back. It's a pretty clear indicator. If you keep your legs not locked out, but pretty straight, and you start to glide that hip girdle back to feel that stretch, if you're starting to feel it in the lower back before you even feel the stretch, it tells you right away that your form is off, you need to adjust, or the weight's just too much. Your body's not customized to that weight. You need to lower the weight. Also could be where the weight is on your foot. So if all the weight is towards your toe, that changes where the weight is hitting your body. For me, I want the weight more so on the ankle, so the heel. So you're gliding back, all that weight's through the heel. You're using your skeletal system as assistance. So these are the type of things you need to look at. So if you're starting to feel it in another area, which I had mentioned in the previous videos, a couple things are off. Form's off. It's too heavy, lighten up. Or if you're lost because it's really, really light, get someone that has done this exercise before, has an educated eye, come over and just critique you. Take the critique and move on from there. There could be just something very slight that's off, but you need that one educated eye to just kind of give it a little bit of help. And it helps miles. Like, people don't understand that just asking someone, it doesn't have to be a coach, it could just be someone in the gym that has a ton of experience, will help you. Most of the gym goers are extremely polite. It may look mean because we're all in here trying to work out, but just ask somebody, and they're good. Most of them, almost 90% of them that I know, is willing to help, willing to give advice. Keeping it the range in where it's supposed to be is one big one that is missed a lot. So a lot of people, when they're doing RDLs or stiff legs, they tend to go like a regular deadlift. They tend to come up and they get that lean. So once you get beyond the point where your hip, everything's upright, it takes the hamstrings right out. So, and all you're really doing is a hip thrust. So if you want to keep it on the hamstring, stay down the range where you're really ending without that hip coming forward. We'll keep a lot of stress on the hamstring. You will notice that you might get a little tired a little quicker, but at the end of the day, you're here to train hamstrings. If your emphasis is on glutes, yes, you might go a little bit higher, but it's an RDL or a stiff leg. So the main concern is hamstring. So you get that full, try to get as much stretch as you can. That's the kind of feeling that you're going for. And don't go to the point where that feeling goes away, because that's when you're letting the muscle go. So you always want stress on the muscle from all the way through the rep, point A to point Z. So doing something like that, it's all mental. Don't give yourself that little bit of a break. I'm gonna do, I call it a 3-stage hamstring curl, but basically what I'm doing is I'm angling my toes in 3 different directions. So For the first 5, I'm gonna angle my toes together. And then I call it normal, so you're just gonna go normal. And then I'm angling my toes away. So it hits the 3 main areas of the hamstring in sequence in the same set. So what I always tell people is do where you're weakest first and then progress from there. So if you need to build up on the inner hamstring or the inner thigh, do that first and then kind of progress away. If your weakness is kind of your glute tie into your hamstring on the outer, then start without and then work your way in. So this is where you kind of got to be really brutal with your physique and be able to give yourself the proper advice to get into the exercise. One of the main things I see people do wrong with this is they pull their hips away from the bench as they're curling it up. One key thought to think is, as you're gonna fire your heels and pull up, push your glutes in. So that's an easy way analogy to think about it, is hips go in as the heels come up. This is not a machine, and this, to be honest, the first time I use this one. So you gotta kind of get used to the pendulum swing to it. So as you're coming up, you want the pad just pretty much on your Achilles tendon, but each one has its own distinct swing. So you gotta have that kind of feel. So once you get into that position where you're feeling most of the contraction in the hamstring area, then you're in the right spot.